Anyone who watched Ruud Van Nistelrooy in his prime knew just how special he was. At the peak of his powers, the Dutchman had terrorized defenders and was scoring goals for fun. But just how did Van Nistelrooy become one of the best strikers of his generation? Van Nistelrooy started off as a central midfielder for local clubs like nwsl and RKSV Madrid in the Netherlands. It wasn't until he switched to Den Bosch that he first played as a striker. After scoring 12 goals in 31 games, Heerenveen swooped in and swooped the newly birthed striker for just €360,000. However, they couldn't hold on to him for long because the big boys came calling, and PSV Eindhoven splashed €6.3 million, which was then a transfer record between Dutch clubs. With all that money on the table, Van Nistelrooy had to prove his worth at his new club, and boy did he. He found the back of the net 31 times in 34 games. If anyone hadn't heard of him by then, they surely did now. His goals won him the Dutch Player of the Year award and a league title. The season after, he followed up with 21 goals and snagged another league title. At that point, the question was, could he replicate his performances outside of his country? The answer to that question was slightly delayed. An unexpected injury to Van Nistelrooy's anterior cruciate ligament ruled him out for an entire year, and we all feared he might not be the same player upon his return. However, former Red Devils manager Sir Alex Ferguson was willing to bet on the striker, and so 1 year on from their first approach to sign him, the English side announced that the Dutchman would be making Old Trafford his new home. Van Nistelrooy had already made his name as one of Europe's most feared strikers in his country, but it was at Manchester United that his prime years really kicked off. The years between 2001 and 2005 birthed one of the greatest strikers that the world has ever seen. Although Manchester United paid £19 million for his services, which was a club record at the time, Ruud wasn't fazed. His mentality showed from the very first game he played for the club, as he scored in a 2-1 loss to Liverpool in the Charity Shield, and when he bagged 2 goals in his first Premier League game. Defenders knew they had a problem on their hands. In just his first season at the club, Van Nistelrooy broke the English record for most goals scored in consecutive games. He scored in 8 straight games and won the PFA Players Player of the Year award by the end of the season. With such a groundbreaking first season, the striker had easily answered the question of whether he could do it outside the Netherlands. But was he going to be a one-season wonder? Van Nistelrooy took his game to new heights the next season. He led United to a Premier League title win by finishing as the league's top goal scorer with 25 goals in 34 matches. From scoring 10 Champions League goals in his first season with United, he popped up with another 12 goals in his UCL campaign and was named the best striker in Europe. The following 2003 and 2004 season, Van Nistelrooy set a record that would stand for over a decade. By scoring in his first 2 games, he completed 10 consecutive Premier League games of scoring. He broke his own previous record. He also scored his 100th goal for Manchester United that season and pulled a big performance in the FA Cup final to earn United a win with 2 goals. At this point, Van Nistelrooy was sky high and both defenders and goalies had no answers. Nothing could stop him. Well, until the injuries came in. The Dutchman endured a difficult next season and missed most matches, but he returned with a bang in the 2005 and 2006 season. That season brought an end to Van Nistelrooy's time at Manchester United, and it wasn't because he stopped scoring goals. Far from it. In fact, he found the net 21 times in the league. What he failed to find this season was a good relationship between himself, his boss, and his teammates. After a training bust-up with future superstar Cristiano Ronaldo, Van Nistelrooy was benched in some key matches. The vibes were off and his time at the club came to an end. Where do you go after a time with England's elite club? There's only one answer for most fans: Real Madrid. In 2006, Europe's big gun came calling with a €14 million bid. It took just 2 games for Van Nistelrooy to score a hat-trick in the iconic white of Real Madrid. By the end of his first season, he had won the Pichichi Award, a league title, and equaled the record for most consecutive games to find the net. At 32 years old, Van Nistelrooy was an apex predator, and the goals were still coming. In his second season with Madrid, he put up 20 goals in 33 games. By this time, though, he had become prey to Father Time, and injury setbacks were becoming more frequent. He only made 7 league appearances in the next 2 seasons after that. Just like that, prime Ruud Van Nistelrooy was defeated by Father Time. Before hanging up his boots at the age of 35, Van Nistelrooy put on the colors of Hamburger SV in Germany and Malaga in Spain. He couldn't score goals as he used to, but he still gave the fans a taste of his magic in front of goal. Prime Van Nistelrooy was also a monster on the international stage. He scored 35 goals in 70 games for the Oranje, making him among the top 10 goal scorers for his nation. Sadly though, he never won a trophy with the country. Such a bummer. The striker's time with the national side also had its fair share of bad times, with bust-ups with Marco van Basten, one of his coaches. Things were always bound to get spicy with the forward. Ever the feisty player, Van Nistelrooy had one of the funniest moments ever captured in an international fixture. In 2006, when Netherlands faced Andorra, he missed a penalty. Andorran player Antoni Lima laughed at him, so 6 minutes later when Ruud finally grabbed the goal, he went over to Antoni Lima and celebrated right in front of him. He doesn't forget, does he? But let's go a bit more in detail about the exact type of striker Van Nistelrooy was. Was Van Nistelrooy just a tap-in merchant? Heck no. This guy was the full package. He was one of the more complete strikers to ever play the game. He had that deadly combination of pace, power, and precision, link-up play, run-in behinds, and ball striking. He has everything and wasn't just a tap-in merchant like many fans think. The Dutchman scored a whopping 331 goals in 523 games throughout his career, averaging .63 goals per game. It was almost a sure bet for him to score every game. Compared to other Dutch greats, this is even more impressive. Van Persie, for example, had a goal ratio of .47 per game, and Bergkamp averaged .38 goals per game. Van Nistelrooy didn't just finish meals, he made dishes for others. In his first season with Manchester United, he finished the Champions League season with the most assists of any player. He created 76 goals for his teammates, an impressive output for a striker who many believe was just a tap-in merchant. At Manchester United, where he probably played his best football, Van Nistelrooy is 8th on the list of all-time top scorers, higher than Cristiano Ronaldo, would you believe? He'll be remembered at the club for his final winning goals, but the one goal that may just stand out the most is the one that ended Arsenal's invincible run in the league. These are the moments that define players, and Van Nistelrooy was an era-defining player through his moments. His trophy cabinet is stacked too. He never won a Champions League, but he won the league in every country he played, except when he was at Hamburger SV. He also caught multiple cup titles. When it came to personal awards, he won the Dutch Footballer of the Year award title twice. The Dutchman was also the Champions League top scorer for 3 successive years and sits 6th on the list of all-time top scorers in the Champions League. ESPN listed Van Nistelrooy in the World Team of the Decade in 2009 and in 2012. The International Federation of Football History and Statistics, the IFFHS, named him the best goal scorer of the last decade. But what are your thoughts about Ruud Van Nistelrooy, and how does he compare to some of the best strikers of all time?